down Moses to Egypt land. Get your staff and start walking it out, walking it out. Get your staff and start walking it out, start walking it out. We were once some slaves, didn't have a history, didn't have a name. We were sold like cattle to these nations made. Now I know who I am and I'm walking it out. Our history was taken from us. We lost our heritage. Then some imposters came and took our name and labeled us as niggas and slaves. Go down Moses to Egypt land. Better tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Get your staff and start walking it out, walking it out. Get your staff and start walking it out, start walking it out. Children of Zion, do you hear that my locks cry? Get your feet up, it's time to go. I know you've been waiting for a while. Sweet cherry, coming for to carry me home. Sweet cherry, coming for to carry me home. Go down Moses, the Egypt land. Better tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Get your staff and start walking it out, walking it out. Get your staff and start walking it out, walking it out. Get your staff and start walking it out, walking it out. Get your staff and start walking it out, walking it out. Babylon, it's time for you to fall. The men of Judah are waiting for your call. Yeah. You better get it right. Stars are falling, it's about to be nighttime. Babylon's about to be a dwelling place for demons. Sun is getting dark, the moon is giving light. There ain't no place for you to run or hide. The scrolls are open, then it's judgment time.
Shalom, everyone. All praises to the Most High Yah. Today we have a very special and important message that I would like to share with everybody. I think it'll be maybe the last one for a little bit until ABBA gives me something else, until he puts something else in me to share. But the title of today's message is There Ain't No Broke Back Mountains in Yahshar'Al. There ain't no broke back mountains in Yahshar'Al. I know, I don't know if everybody's seen that movie. It is one of the most terrible, disgusting, abominable movies out there. But there is a spirit of broke back mountains in Yahshar'Al, and that's something that we really want to break currently. So yeah, it's really important that we do approach this matter with a lot of sensitivity because it is very triggering. So I do want to say a few things before we do start. The first thing is this is a very sensitive topic. So if you are struggling with anger without discernment, because it's okay to be angry, but it's a problem when you're angry without discernment, because then you're just being fleshly. So If you struggle with anger without discernment, then it would be best for you to turn off this live. This video is to bring understanding, not create rage or unrighteous rage. The other is let us ask Abba for the proper spirit to listen and to understand what is being said. We want to make sure that we have the right approach when listening. This is a very important topic. I'm hoping that we'll be able to reach it without me ranting too much. If it does get too long, then we'll break it into segments, but hopefully we'll be able to cover up all the points. We'll try our best and we'll see. And the other thing is, I do not pretend to know everything. I know a little bit. I just share what the Ruach puts in me, what he teaches me, what he downloads in me, and leads me to share. So that's all I do. So there are points where I just won't touch because I just don't know. Abba didn't show it to me, so I can't really speak on it. But if I touch a little bit, it's because I've only been given a little bit to share. So before we start, let's go into Palal and ask the Most High Yah to be with us and to bring the right people our way to listen to what it is that we have to say. Abba, we come before you and we give you thanks for everything you've done for us. Thank you for giving us the privilege to be able to come together this evening. Thank you, Abba, that you give us your peace that surpasses all understanding, that you have taken us from deception, from lies, from the schemes of the enemy, and you have called us out by our names, Abba, that you've allowed us to see and you've given us understanding. I ask that you will be with each and every single individual that is here this evening, and I ask that you will give them understanding, and those who come later, that they will understand and see and understand what it is that your Ruach has to say. Be esteemed, Abba Yah, Bahasham Yahushes. So be it, and be it so. So again, there ain't no broke back mountains in Yahshar'Al, but there is a very heavy spirit in the Negro community. So right now, I'm definitely going to make a big distinction between Yahshar'Al and Negroes. I know we're the same people. I know we're the same thing. The difference, though, is that one understands their identity, the other is still struggling. We give praise to the Most High Yah that he has allowed us to be able to come to the knowledge of him, that he has removed the veil from our eyes. This topic has to do specifically with the men, about the men, because we know that there is no Yahshar'Al without men, because Yah called out the man to make the covenant. It was his seed. We are the seed of that man that Abba Yah called. So it's very important that we really grasp this. It's very easy that, for us to be swayed, because when we were in Christianity, it was always the woman. The women were always the face of what was going on. You want to teach righteousness, you wanted to teach Christianity, you wanted to teach the Bible. It was always somebody's mom, somebody's grandma, or somebody's aunt. Very rarely was it a man. Very rarely. But when it comes to Yahshar'Al today, it matters who is the head. It matters who is leading us. It matters who is guiding us, right? It is so important that we understand this. So the first point we're going to touch on is then, what is a man of Yahshar'Al? What does a man of Yahshar'Al look like? What is a man of Yahshar'Al, and what does he look like? For you to know and understand what Yahshar'Al looks like, we need to understand the root word of Yahshar'Al, right? What does it mean to be a Yahshar? What does that mean? Well, Yahshar has many meanings. We're going to focus on two, though. The first meaning is going to be righteousness, or the just ones. And Yahshar also means he is prince. This is so important in understanding the identity of our men. Us as a nation, but we're not focusing on women today. We're focusing on the men. Righteousness. He is prince. Yashar means to be smooth, to be straight. Straight as in ongoing. He does not deviate to the left or to the right. He stays on the same path, in the same direction, going the same place every time. Right? He is right. He seems good. His will is to be pleasing. He is esteem, to go right on, to bring, to look, to make, to be upright, to be filled with equity, to meet, meaning you have a goal and you accomplish that goal. You hit the goal. You meet the goal. You are just as in there is no wavering in you in righteous decision. You choose the right path every time, and you are well pleased. In you, there is a feeling of being well pleased. It's when you look at your son and you say, I am pleased with your behavior. I am pleased with the way that you are, the way that you behave, the way that you speak, the way that you present yourself. You are one that is pleasing to the eye. And it also means that he is prince. He was hand chosen. He was hand picked. He has a place of royalty in the house of his father. And this is important because today, that is not what we see with our people. The identity is still there, but the reputation is not there because our reputation has been tainted, right? And that is because of our own rebellion. Because the nations would not be able to come and fight against us and conquer us if it had not been Yah who delivered us into their hands, because it was very few in number that took us. So, in the English language, righteousness means the quality of being morally right or justifiable, being declared not guilty. Wow. Right? The word righteousness, or Yashar, is found many times in the scriptures. So now that we understand what Yashar means, to be smooth, to have no rough edges, to not be sharp, but rather to be straight, to be ongoing, to have a continual character that does not change. The Most High Yah wants us to be more than morally right. The Most High Yah wants us to be more than morally right. He wants righteousness to be who we are. He doesn't want us to act righteous. He wants us to be righteous. He wants our men to be righteous, and not in one instant of a moment. He wants them to be righteous all the time, ongoing, smooth, to be a circle, perfectly rounded in his will, all the time. He wants righteousness to be who we are. We are to become part of his righteousness. And that's the thing. If we become part of Yah's righteousness, then we don't change. We don't stop being righteous at any given time because we are Yah's righteousness. If Yah is eternal and his Ruach lives in us and we are being led by Yah's Ruach, then we in turn become eternally practicing the will of Yah and mirroring his righteousness. That is what a man of Yahshar'Al is supposed to look like all the time. We're supposed to look like that too. But again, the focus tonight is on what are our men supposed to look like? Abba Yah, he is perfect. He cannot turn to the right or to the left. He can't. It's just not in his nature. He is ongoing. He is perfect. You know, he is ongoing. Like, imagine a circle. When does a circle stop being a circle? It goes around and around and around and around all the time. There are no ridges in Yah. His esteem goes before him. His esteem goes behind him. He is the same all around. He is smooth. He has no edge. He is perfectly rounded. Perfectly rounded. So what does that mean for us? What does this mean for the men of Yahshar'Al? That they too must be reflectors of the righteousness of Yah. He provided HaMashiach to show us how to reflect his righteousness in our human form. Is it impossible to be righteous all the time? Absolutely not. Is perfection attainable? Absolutely yes. Otherwise, our Father would not say, be perfect as I am perfect, or be Kodesh as I am Kodesh. He would not say to be something that we cannot be. We are able to reach perfection. We are able to be Kodesh. We are able to be set apart. And he showed us this through HaMashiach. When we endure and we use our free will to choose Yah's righteousness, we earn an eternal reward. We can stand, dwell, and abide forever in Yah's glory. We can see his face. This is what a man of Yahshar'Al should be able to do. To stand, to dwell, and to forever see Yah's glory. We become perfected. We return to being Yah's glory. The scriptures say that the woman is the glory of a man, and the man is the glory of Yah. The man is the glory of Yah. It is so important that we understand this. So then, when people talk about our father Yaakov, they gave us a messed up definition. We're going to get to the meat of this now. When you can put it in the chat. When you hear the meaning of Yaakov's name, what did they tell us when we were in church? Or what did they tell us when we were in the religious system? Why did Yah change his name, and what was his name changed to? People always say, or for me at least, when I was in church growing up, I heard people say that the name of Yaakov was changed to Yahshar'Al, or to Israel, and Israel means he who wrestles. I'm going to use God for now. He who wrestles with God. That is a bad definition. That is a very bad definition. It is terrible. I would even dare to say that it is blasphemous. Because how are you going to wrestle with the Most High Yah? How are you going to wrestle with him? So that is a very bad definition. And this definition is what we can identify today to the Negroes. But to those who have awakened from Negrohood to being Yahshar'Al, our definition is completely different. You see, Yah never changed Yaakov's name to Yahshar'Al because he wrestled with him. The Most High Yah changed Yaakov's name because he strove with him. Because he said, I will not let you go until you barak me. He didn't wrestle. Do you know what wrestling looks like? When I was a kid, I loved to wrestle. Like nobody had nothing on me. I had like my little brothers. I would make sure I pinned them down every time. You couldn't get one past me. Do you know the shame sometimes it is how shameful it is for the person who is being pinned down. Sometimes you have defeated them. Or the amount of tugging, we're saying that Yah was tugging with our father Yaakov, and basically over here on the ground, rolling around in circles, saying, I'm going to pin you down until you barak me. No, that is not what happened. If we go to Genesis chapter 35, verse 10 to 12, let's read it. Genesis chapter 35, verse 10 to 12. And Elohim said to him, your name is Yaakov. Your name is no longer Yaakov, but Yahshar'Al is your name. So he called his name Yahshar'Al. And Elohim said to him, I am El Shaddai. Bear fruit and increase. A nation and a company of nations shall be from you, and sovereigns come from your body. And the land which I gave Abraham and Yitzhak, I give to you, and to your seed after you, I give this land. And then when we go to the same book, but chapter 32, we have a little bit more of a pretext. Verse 22 through 28. And he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 female servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford of Yabok. And he took them and sent them over the stream and sent over what he had. And Jacob was left alone, and a man strove with him until the breaking of day. And when he saw that he did not overcome him, he touched the socket of his hip. And the socket of Jacob's hip was dislocated as he strove with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaks. But he said, I am not letting you go until you have barak me. And he asked him, what is your name? And he said, Yaakov. And he said, your name is no longer Yaakov, but Yahshar'Al, because you have striven with Elohim and with men and have overcome. So I know that in a lot of translations, King James and all of the other words, it says wrestle. But if we use English eyes to understand Hebrew scriptures, we're not going to understand very well. But if we understand what the Hebrew word is, then it'll make sense. It says you have Sarah with Elohim. What does that word mean? You have, I'm probably butchering it, but it says you have Sarah with Elohim. Sarah. It means you have persevered. You have striven. You refused to let go. You held on. This is a perfect example, the same word that was used for Ruth and Naomi when she said, I will not let you go. Your El will be my El. Your people will be my people. Your rules will be my rules. Your customs will be my customs. The thing is that we have to understand with our father Yaakov was that he understood the source. And because he understood the source, he held on to it every time. That's the difference between Yahshar'Al and Esau. Esau always was ready to let go. For some food, he let go of his heritage, of his inheritance. And Yaakov saw it. Really, he didn't even sneak and cheat Esau. Because Yahshar'Al, Yaakov said, I'm going to give you this food, but give me your inheritance. Yaakov, he knew the importance of it. He knew the barakah that was going to be behind that. He understood it. And he wanted it, and he held on to it. And even though it was already something that was given to him, that was prepared for him to have, he went and he did all that he did to make sure that he kept it. This is the same thing that happened when he, quote unquote, wrestled with the man that came to him. He refused to let go. He held on. He said, I will not let you go, because he understood the source from which that man came. He understood the source. And that is what that name Yahshar'Al means. To be righteous, to persevere, to be ongoing, to not let go. Yashar, to endure, to persevere, to not waver. Yaakov's name was changed not because he fought or grappled or struggled with the Most High. Yaakov's name was changed because he understood the source. He prevailed. He persevered. He was persistent. He beheld Yah's power and understood that he wanted to be an inheritor of that power and to be heir as a prince. So Yah changed his name. Yah changed his name because Yaakov understood and proved more powerful than opposing forces. He understood the source was always Yah. So then how are the men of Yahshar'Al supposed to be? Well, they're supposed to be strong, not fearful, because if you persevere with Yah, then you're going to be bold. You're going to be confident. You're going to be righteous. You're going to be just. You're going to be zealous. You're going to be honest. You're going to be a man of valor. You're going to be non-negotiable when it comes to perverting Yah's will. You understand that you are royalty, that you are a prince. The name prince is literally in the name Yashar. Yah and Shar are two words. Yah and Shar, it means the prince. But what has happened to us today? What has happened to our men today? Today as a whole, we are far from this definition. We are far from it. Those that are sleeping, that is. As individuals, we are coming back to this definition, right? Like as individuals, we are starting to remember who we are. The Most High Yah is waking us up. The Most High Yah is bringing us back to the covenant. He is opening our eyes. But a number has been done on Yahshar'Al. A number, and it's a nasty number. It's a perverted number. It's a wicked thing that has been done to us. And something that the Most High Yah did not tell these nations to do. They went above and beyond the chastisement that the Most High Yah had prepared for us as a nation. They went above and beyond. They did much more than Yah told them to do. And that's why Yah is so wroth with these nations. So when we as individuals do what our father Yaakov did, and we strive with Yah, and we say, I will not let you go until you barak me. I will not let you go until you establish me as a son of your house. Then we will have our names individually as Yahshar'Al, as opposed to the names and the bywords and the stigmas that were given to us. Right now, our men in this world are not seen as princes. They're seen as thugs. They're not seen as righteous. They're seen as lawless. They're not seen as just. They're seen as vindictive. They're not seen as kodesh. They're seen as scumbags. We are the lowest of the lows, and it's a problem. I have a big problem with it. I am a female, but I am very jealous for the men of Yahshar'Al. Because I read the books. I know the stories. I know the historical accounts. I know what our men did. So for us to have to witness and see our men be degraded to bywords and stigmas and titles that completely steer and rear away from the name that the Most High Yah gave us in the beginning, to me is a problem. So it's important that we strive with Yah. We don't wrestle with him, because wrestling means that we're fighting Yah. We're fighting him. We're fighting him. We're trying to overcome something. And then Yah overcomes us, and then we're just like, okay, I'm not going to let you go till you bless me. No. We don't wrestle with Yah. Wrestling with him is rebellion. Don't be deceived by the English language to think that's what Yaakov did. He didn't wrestle with Yah. He strove with him. He persevered with him. He would not let him go because he understood the source. Don't wrestle with Yah. How did his hip get dislocated? He didn't want to let go. And when you don't want to let go, it costs you something. And we're going to go through that fire today. We're going to go through that fire in this lifetime. We're going to go through it. Because we're going to have to prove to the Most High Yah that we want his way above every other way. That we want his laws above every other law. We want his customs, his traditions, his direction above everybody else. And if we love that, it will cost us something. And that is what happened with Yaakov, with Yahshar'Al, our father. That he didn't want to let go, no matter what it cost him. It cost him his hip. But he was given a new name. And he was called a Yahid of the Most High Yah. So what's going on with Yahshar'Al today? Well, our men are effeminate. They have completely deviated away from the meaning of being a prince, of being righteous, of being perfectly rounded. They have emotional imbalances. They got black men hoe syndrome. They got intellectual superiority complexes. They got all of these. Spiritual homosexuality. Never heard of that one, I bet. Physical homosexuality. And the worst of the worst, Jezebel and Ahab unity. So we're going to talk about all of these today. And then when we're done, we're going to bring our men before the Most High Yah. Why are our men so effeminate? How is it possible that our men were so masculine, but now we're not even talking about their physical capacity. We're not talking about how they look on the outside. We're talking about their emotions. They are almost an exact replica of women. Why is that? Why is it that them going to the military or the Navy is what makes them tough? Why is it no longer an innate thing inside of them? We have to remember what was said long ago. What was spoken of long ago? Our men have been demasculated by our oppressors. When they took us out of our lands, or they took us out of the mainland and brought us into these other countries, they wanted to subdue us. It is so important that we understand this because it will determine how we behave with our men. Are we going to be stumbling blocks for them, or are we going to be an encourager to them to help them regain their strength? Because that really matters, and it does depend a lot on how we women behave. Because roles have been switched. They took our men out of the lands that we were in and brought us to these lands that we have been scattered to. They took our men. They raped our men. They bucked our men. Did things that they had done in their Greek, Roman, Phoenician societies, and they did it to ours, something that was abominable in our community, something that was not and should not have been done. Next level perversion. They see that they would whoop the men and the men wouldn't care. They would get back up with their dignity still. They would rape the men's woman. It would make them upset and angry, but they had their dignity still. They took the men and their children away from each other. Still, the man had his dignity. But then they said, we will break the man. Bent him over and violated him. Do you know the kind of psychology, the kind of perversion, the kind of wickedness, the kind of abomination that is? To take a man and to say, I will tame him by taking away his masculinity and his strength in front of other men. And we think that they're still going to be tough. We think that they're still going to have their head up high. Something was stolen from him. And I don't want to downplay what was done to the woman, because the things that were done to the woman were atrocious. They were terrible things, very terrible things. But one thing we have to really understand is that the man is the glory of Yah. We were the glory of the man, but the man was the glory of Yah. When they did these things, they were tainting the glory of Yah. They were deliberately trying to spit on Yah when they did that to the men. The scriptures say that the men are the glory of Yah. The men, Yahshar'Al, that is man's glory. So when you understand that, you are able to see why it was so much more devastating for the men and they never recuperated than it was for us women. Because us women, there's still some problems in Yahshar'Al with the woman, but we were able to kind of make it out a lot further than they did. They destroyed our men because they were the image of Yah's glory. They represented his glory, his esteem, because Yahshar'Al, it was made through a man first. It wasn't made through a woman. Yes, we know there's neither female or male. But when you still understand the way that the covenant came about, when Yah spoke to Abraham, and then spoke to Isaac, and then spoke to Jacob, and then chose the sons, they tried to taint Yah's glory by tainting his sons. This was an attack against Yah's covenant when they attacked our men, when they bucked them, when they bent them over, violated them in front of other men. This is what they have done. That is why they're effeminate. They're not weak because they want to be. It's generations of mental reconstruction, generations of systemic oppression. Putting somebody in jail for selling some weed and then putting them in prison for 15 to 20 years, and then you put them in that jail, and then another grown man want to come and rape a young boy, and then now it's a whole generation of effeminate men. systematic and constructive emasculating of Yahshar'Al. Do you know what molestation does to people? I know what it does because I was molested. Now imagine a man raping another man. Imagine a man raping another man. Imagine being put in prison and being told by women who are your overseers, you're a man, a grown man, and you're in prison. The Most High Yah didn't create justice this way. He really didn't. He really didn't. He really didn't. It is systematic oppression. Systematic oppression. You put a man in prison and you put some woman over him to tell him when to eat, to tell him when to shut his mouth, to tell him when to go to sleep, to tell him when the lights are on and when the lights are off, tell him all these things. And then he goes back out into society. He still don't know how to be a man because he had some woman over him for the last 15, 20 years telling him what to do, telling him how to do it, exercising authority over him. He's not rehabilitated. He's demasculated. He is emasculated. He hasn't been taught anything. And then we wonder why he goes back out into the streets doing the same things again and again and again, because they don't know how to act. Because it has been programmed from the very beginning for their esteem to be taken away from them. Because if the men of Yahshar'Al acted like the men of Yahshar'Al, then they would be giving esteem to Yah, and that's what the enemy does not want. It has nothing to do with being a man. It has everything to do with giving Yah his glory. It has everything to do with that. So then they take the men out of the homes. They put gangs in our communities. They put some guns in our communities, rivalry in our communities. They do all that mess and then want to come in and observe us and spectate us like we are some wild animals in the zoo, in the safari, and they're doing documentaries on us when they did it to us, when they told us how to behave. They took our men out of the communities, they killed them on the streets, gave them crack cocaine, gave the woman welfare, and then when they raised up their sons, the sons had no fathers in the home. So now they have what now? Another reinforcement of systemic oppression. Systemic oppression. And now we got a whole bunch of emotional, imbalanced men. Emotional, imbalanced men. And their names have been replaced with ban. If you know what ban stands for, I don't know if they use it in the north, but in the south, they say ban. B-I, and then the A stands for A-S, and then the N stands for niggas. That's what they call us. B-A niggas. That's what they call our men. The disrespect. The disrespect. Emotional imbalances now. Now you have a woman who is struggling already to be the head of her household and to take care of children and be the breadwinner. And women are very emotional. If we're being honest, women are a lot more emotional than men are. We think with our emotions, not always with our mind. Our feelings oftentimes supersede reasoning. So now you got an emotional woman raising a boy that is supposed to be trained up to be fearless, to be masculine. however way we want to spin the top, flip the coin, a mother will never be able to teach her son how to be a man. I don't care if you was raised by a single mom. A single mother or a mother in general will never be able to teach her son how to be a man, because we're not men. It's just not possible. You can speak it to him. You can tell him how to be, but we can't show them. It's just not possible. It's just not. So now we have women raising up men, boys, and they're becoming men, and they're struggling with their innate identity to be boy, to be masculine. And then on top of that, now we have these women who have emotions, who rear them a lot of times, falling on these boys. So now these boys are growing up, bold and confident, but they're also very sensitive. You can't say anything. They're emotional. I don't know how many times I've lived in Atlanta since I was a child, and the amount of times I have seen my own community of Hebrew boys be so sensitive. Sometimes they struggle with depression, social anxiety. It is terrible. Very sensitive. And there's nothing wrong with being sensitive, but it becomes a problem when what you have is a boy with female emotions all the time. It's too much, because they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to push past that emotional imbalance. And what does the emotional imbalance do? Make them aggressive. Sometimes it makes them violent. Sometimes it makes them, when they get in a relationship with another female, it can't go on. It can't last, because it's like two females in a relationship. Like, we have to get this, where you have a man in a relationship with another female, but it's like it's two women living in a household, because there are emotional imbalances. They are giving back what they received in their household, even if their mother was not emotionally unbalanced, but they receive it anyway, because that's what they were raised around. There was no man to put anything in check. They also have black men hoe syndrome, where they deliberately made our men prostitutes. Literally. They literally made our men prostitutes, selling off their bodies. And they did this through pornography. They did this through the music. They did this through the movies. They sold our men perversion. They sold our men self-destructive mechanisms. They did this to our men. They did much more than y'all had told them to do. All they was supposed to do was take us out of our land, put us into slavery, make us servants, make us build their countries, whoop us, not care for our elderly. They were supposed to take our children from us, separate us. It's in Deuteronomy. But they went above and beyond. The Most High Yah did not tell them to buck us up. The Most High Yah did not tell them to bend us over. The Most High Yah did not tell them to take our kids and turn them into barbecue chicken. The Most High Yah did not tell them to take our organs and do blood sacrifices. The Most High did not tell them to do that. He gave instructions, and they went above and beyond. You ever was babysitting one of your younger siblings, and your mama said to you, if Lucy does something wrong, just whoop her. Give her 2 whoopings on, in the behind, and then she'll learn. And you say, yes, Mom. Mom goes to work. Lucy's being bad, and Lucy won't listen. And you take the belt. You whoop Lucy so many times. You give her 15 lashes in the bum. And then after that, you say to her, no dinner. And then she says, I need water. No water. I need to go to the bathroom. You can't go to the bathroom either. You went above and beyond the allowance of what Abba Yah told you to do, of what your mama told you to do. And that is what these nations have done. They went above and beyond what the Most High Yah told them to do. They took it far, and they turned our men in and out. They gave them drugs, gave them crack cocaine, gave them movies, gave them paraphernalias, gave them a whole bunch of evil things, so that they could not be Yah's glory. And when they wanted to turn back to Yah, they couldn't. It's a problem. It's a problem because our people are still struggling with it. When they want to turn back to Yah, they can't. Or it's too hard. It's too hard for them to turn back to the Most High Yah, because they did too much to us. Black men hoe syndrome. Can't have a family. Want to have a whole bunch of different kinds of women. Any type of woman. Woman with class, woman with no class. A woman that's smart and a woman that's dumb. A woman that has her head on her shoulders and a woman that wants to have party time all the time. Black man hoe syndrome. Got one family on the East Coast and another family on the West. Got a girlfriend in the North and got a sugar mama in the South. Black man hoe syndrome. Where nothing matters but the flesh. It's because of fleshly people ruled over us. And they said if these men stay in their homes and raise their children, then their identity will come back to them. The order will come back to them. The dignity will come back to them. Nobody will be able to talk to them. The constructive and systemic oppression won't be able to work anymore. The emotional imbalances won't be able to work anymore. So you know what we got to do? We got to make them hoes. We got to make them hoes. Do you know that the Negro community has the highest percentage of 2 families? That is, if they're married, sometimes there's another family somewhere else. That is a problem. That is a big problem. We have the highest communities of having children with a whole bunch of different women and with a bunch of different men. Black men hoe syndrome. And if you're the woman receiving all the men, the men still are the hoes, because they're the ones coming to sleep with the woman when they know that you got 3 kids already by 3 different baby daddies, and they still coming in. They have no what do you call it? No standards. And it's because of being conditioned. We're not talking about when we were in the world, because these things are things that we did in ignorance. But what's currently going on in our community for the people who have not awakened to who they are, this is a big problem. Intellectual superiority complex. Wow, what a mouthful. some men, it's really two-sided, where you have a man who is intellectual, he is very smart, and he struggles with two problems. He's gone to school, he's gotten a degree, he's attained and acquired for himself financial stability, and because of this, he thinks he's too good for his own kind, because he's been conditioned to believe that if it's one of his own, they might not have the same vision. It's better for him to go invest in another community, to go marry from another nation, to go get a woman from another tribe, because that is going to ensure that all of his efforts of coming out of the slums is maintained, because he is not going to go back to where he came from. He is not going to go back to poverty. And if he is with one of his own who doesn't have a vision, or who has not acquired for herself what the Americans would call success, it's going to be a problem for him. So they marry outside of Yahshar'Al. They think they're too good for Yahshar'Al. The other problem is sometimes they don't want to get married at all, because to get married would be threatening to all of their efforts. Another problem is that sometimes they don't want to get married to somebody who seems smarter than they are. They don't want to get married to a woman who seems like they have it all together, because they feel inferior. And this really is the main focus for us. It is such a shame that our men don't think that they're good enough, that when they find somebody who is willing to be with them, a lot of times, they underestimate themselves and they don't want to commit. This is a problem. This is a big problem. And it is sad, because I have brothers, I have cousins, I have males in my life. And to see at any given point that our men would prefer to downgrade than to stay with somebody that ABBA has given to them to help them go up. It's like they don't know that they can have something good. It is terrible. It is sad. And this goes back to being effeminate. It goes back to this. Because a masculine man is not fearful. He is not threatened by intelligence. He embraces it. It is so terrible, the things that have been done to our men. Not only were they bucked, not only were they put in prison, mass incarceration, but they're also raped in prison. They have women over them in the prisons. Teachers in school are females, and they're the ones exercising authority over them. Don't think for a moment that the school was something like, if you do research, don't think for a moment that the school was created to be over here teaching you your ABCs, okay? It has nothing to do with learning ABC 1, 2, 3, you and me. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with control and subjugation. And especially in our communities, you're going to see the majority of teachers are females. And the majority of those in our community are fatherless. So not only are they being groomed by have mothers in their home teaching them, raising them alone, but they're also be dominated by women. And then the system that is over them is not a masculine system. It is an effeminate system because it goes contrary to Yah's will. There is no roundness in it. There is no circle in it. There is no ongoing righteousness in it. It is effeminate. And now, another thing our men struggle with is spiritual homosexuality. What is spiritual homosexuality? Spiritual homosexuality is not the same as physical homosexuality. It's two different things. A spiritual homosexual is somebody who always needs a spiritual daddy over them, a spiritual pappy over them, a spiritual sugar daddy over them. It is very disturbing. And we see this in our community all the time, especially if you're from the South. Especially if you're from the South. A spiritual homosexual is not even one who thinks he is homosexual. It is that everything he does is under the authority of another man, and what he desires is the authority of another man to be exercised over his life. And it's not that big of a deal when you think about it at first, but you're just like, when you really look at it, you're just like, what kind of nonsense is this? I was raised in the South. I was raised Southern Baptist. I went to a Southern church my whole life, almost. And I can tell you that the spiritual homosexuality that is in these churches is disgusting. The men do not stand up for righteousness. Whatever the pastor says goes. Whatever the massa says goes. It is yes and amen to every single thing that is being said, not trying, not testing, not examining the spirits or what the word is being said. It is whatever you're being told. Go over here and do this. Okay. Go over here and do that. Okay. Come over here. Let me lay my hands on you. Okay. And if they don't have that direction, then they feel useless. Then they can't function. Their relationship with the spiritual leader is much stronger than the bond that they have with their wives. They desire that masculinity over them. They reject the feminine authority over them. They hate it because to them it's toxic. But the masculine authority over them, they want it. They need it. They hunger for it. And we see that this is the same thing that goes on in gangs. In gangs. It really is. People want to talk about, no, it's not that at all. It's just, they're just looking for a dad. Yeah, they are. A lot of them are, but it turns more than that. It turns into a spiritual homosexuality. Dependency on another man's masculinity to help you feel like you're able to function. That's what it is. And the man cowers down and his masculinity is not there. It just doesn't exist. It just doesn't. They're docile. They've become the woman in the relationship, and that other man spiritually dominates them. Spiritually, they can tell them what to do, how to believe, and how to behave. That's what these churches all across the South and all across the whole United States of America does. It's not teaching nobody, for the most part, about the Most High on His will. It's teaching subjugation. It's teaching you how to be dominated. It's teaching you how to be docile. It's teaching our men, for a lack of better words, how to be punks. That's what it's doing. It's teaching them to be punks. Meanwhile, on the other side, where the other nations are, they're bold. They're patriots. They're nationalists. And we over here are in the streets wanting to go march. It's crazy. One of the other terrible things that they've done to us is physical homosexuality. I don't know if any of you know, but one thing that gets on my last nerves, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. It makes my blood boil. Is when somebody from the LGBTQ, ABCQYZ community want to tell me that they understand my struggles. I hate it. I hate it. I despise it. It makes my blood boil, turns my face red. You would never seen a red tomato like me. I hate it. I hate it. I despise it with a passion when somebody want to tell me they understand my struggle or they understand the struggle of my people. Because our plight has become a thing of ridicule. And it's not the other community's fault. It's because we have been despised and deprivated so much, deprived of respect so much, that even our struggle has been disrespected. Our challenges have been disrespected. The things we've gone through has been disrespected. We've been so disrespected that they want to associate our struggles with a sexual orientation. Do you know what kind of disrespect that is? That is disrespectful. Turning my struggles, my history, my identity, and putting it on the same level as a sexual orientation and a lifestyle? You know where that started off with? And this was to reinforce homosexual behavior in our community. They done turned us over, bucked wild on our boys, did some Brokeback Mountain movie scenes in the slavery era. And then here comes the 1960s. And Coretta Scott King want to say our people have struggled the same way as the LGBTQ. Now reinforcing the trauma that our men had received and gone through, and made it one with the deliberate sexual perversion lifestyle choices that others have made, and said we are the same. And this was to make sure that our men, especially our men, remained in the bondage of sexual deprivation. It is disturbing. I'm from Atlanta. You know what they call us down there? They call that state Gaylanta. That's what they call us down there. You know that there's more homosexual men in those communities in Atlanta than there are women? You know we got a whole bunch of homosexual men in Atlanta? Do you know that this is something that was not common before? But then here comes infiltrators and coons And they want to come over here and act like our plight is their plight, and they associate the struggles of our men to homosexuality and lesbianism and all of these other things. And now our men, instead of dealing with the problem, they embrace it. They embrace what our oppressors did to them. They embrace having been raped. They embrace having been emasculated. They embrace not having an identity. And they choose for their identity to be their sexuality. They did a number on Yahshar'Al. Grown men with beards, 2 beards getting married. Grown men with two grown men with beards. That is wild. Like 2 grown men with beards, buddy. And we think that the Most High Yah is not wroth with us. He's wroth with us, but he's much more wroth with what these nations have done to us. They tainted what was meant to be Yah's glory. They tainted what was meant to be Yah's glory. They can't taint Yah himself because they're going to get a whooping. But they tainted what was meant to be Yah's glory. They made our men effeminate. They made our men weak in feelings and emotions, not able to reason, not clear-headed, not level-headed. They made our men like hoes, can't keep a family. Very difficult for our men to remain in a marriage. Made our men cowards of intellectual women. And if they are intellectual themselves, then they are too afraid to keep it in Yahshar'Al. They are more willing to go outside of the community, outside of their own, and give it to another. They got spiritual homosexuality where they got black men spiritually over black men, keeping them in some kind of bondage because they don't know how to break away from deviant doctrines. And then they got a whole bunch of physical homosexuality. And we got the highest population. We probably got more men than they got men in that kind of a lifestyle. And we're the only ones in the world that have a struggle that is associated to a sexual orientation. This is a problem. This is a problem. Got some men in some heels. Got some men in some heels, some beards, getting married. 2 men with a beard, getting married, kissing each other. Look. These things, like, the human eye should just never see it. It's just something that we should never see. And then one of the worst problems that's in Yahshar'Al today is the Jezebel and Ahab unity. A lot of our men, whether they know who they are or not, they struggle with this problem here. And this is not a problem that is just in the, in the Negro community. Remember in the beginning, I said I'm separating it because now, as of now, I want people to know who I am as Yahshar'Al. And those who don't know that they're Yahshar'Al, we know they're Yahshar'Al, they're Israelites. I'm going to call them Negroes, the unawakened ones. But I want to say that in our community as a whole, there is this Jezebel and Ahab complex where the men still are the ones that are in the background and the women are the one leading and doing everything. It's the Jezebel and Ahab unity. This is a problem. The number of times there are men and the woman's the one telling them, hey, let me say this first. Hold on, over talking a man, having no order, having no gentleness to her, telling the man what to do and how to do it all the time. They go and pray together, but it's the woman saying, hey, let's go pray together all the time. And Ahab says, yes, honey. Yes, boo. Let's go do that. Jezebel, Ahab complex is a problem that is running rampant over in this community. In the awakened ones and the unawakened ones. Those who are still sleeping. And it's a spirit of cowardice sometimes. And sometimes it's the spirit of the woman who is just too strong, who is just too forward. And this should not be. So we have to make sure that us understanding what has happened to our men is the complete opposite of the definition that Yah gave to our father Jacob. That he would be Yahshar'Al. But our men today, they are the ones who wrestle with Yah. The ones who don't know Yah, who are wrestling with him, wanting to have their own way with him, wanting to do their own thing. You only wrestle with somebody when you want to overcome them. You don't wrestle with somebody if you want them to bless you. We need to strive with Yah, and that's what our men need, to strive with Yah. And we as women, we have to make it possible for them. We have to remain on our knees for them. Because the attack was not over us. Honestly, it wasn't. We suffered. We really did. It as, inheritors of it. But the ones who got the beatings, and if we understand this, the ones who got the beatings and who suffered the most was our men. They took the daughters of Zion and they put them on the TV screen, on movies and in pornography to destroy us. But they used us to not only destroy us, but to also destroy our men as well. It always goes back to the men. Because the covenant was made with the man. The promise was given to a man. The man is the glory of Yah. When we see a man of Yahshar'Al that is righteous, that is perfectly rounded, that loves Yah, loves his ways, if not fearful, stands with ardor, his chest out, his head up, he is what Yah's glory is, what people see. You see, wow, this is not an ordinary man. This man, he holds something that could only come from Yah. But when you see a man of Yahshar'Al today that doesn't know he is Yahshar'Al, what most people see is like, oh man, look at that scrawny kid, man. Look at that punk. Look at that thug. He probably gangbangs. Look at that emotional unbalanced boy. That man looks like he can't keep a family. He looks like he's divorced. He looks like he doesn't know his left hand from his right hand. He looks like he got two families. He looks like his wife tells him what to do. He looks like a loser. He looks like he got a whole bunch of side chicks. He looks kind of dumb. That's what people say when they see men of Yahshar'Al today. Those who don't know who they are, at least. But if we are coming to the truth and the knowledge of who we are, then when people see our men, they should see what Yah called them to be, which is royalty. These people carry themselves in such a way. I can't mess with him. He walks inside of a room and I feel like he's not by himself. And it's just one man. Man, I can't mess with that woman in front of him. Because he is righteous and he is just all the time. He's serious. He doesn't jest. He doesn't do coarse joking. He doesn't let his mouth slip up. And you better stay away from him with that homosexual stuff. He also don't care about spiritual dominance over him, where just because it's a man spiritually telling him what to do, he's going to say, yes, Amasa. No, Amasa. He's not going to do that. Because he knows to whom he belongs. He puts order in his household. His wife doesn't run him. They walk together. But he has the final say. And his final say is good. Because he is in communion with Yah all the time. All the time. His wife has a meek and peaceable spirit. His children walk in a straight line. He trains up his mind and his body to be ready when Yah calls him. He's not no punk. His heart doesn't race when he sees a police officer driving behind him because he knows that Yah stands for him. So why should he fear? A number has been done on our boys, on our men. And the Most High Yah is wroth about it. And we have to make sure that we ourselves are not reinforcing what the enemy has done to our men. We can't be calling our men bands. I told y'all what band stood for already. You can't call him that when you're mad at one of your own. You can't be like, ban! Or the ones that are emotionally imbalanced, you call them F-boys. That's what they call them in the South. Well, in Atlanta at least. He's always in his feelings. But we're called to teach our boys how to fear the Most High Yah. And we're called to cover our men. We're called to respect them too. Because one thing you don't want to do is spit on somebody who's already been down by the system, by the government, by their community, by their movies, and by the rest of the world. It's hard being a female or a daughter of Yahshar'Al in this world. But trust me, it's so much more harder being a man. Because because they won't attack us the way they do them, because the battle, their goal is to attack Yah. And again, if the men are the glory of Yah, according to 1 Corinthians, then their eyes are going to be on the men of Yahshar'Al more than everybody else. You think that they attacked the woman in their womb just because they didn't want you to have children? If all we had were daughters, they would not care. I guarantee you that. They didn't want us to give birth to boys. They didn't want us to give birth to sons. They didn't want us to give birth to sons. Because as the new generation is coming, there are promises ahead for them. Because this generation, the men have awakened and they know who they are. And if they know who they are, then they're going to teach their sons. And if the sons know who they are, the little ounce of fear their fathers had, they will have none at all. They will have none at all. So we have to rebuke that Brokeback Mountain sentiment that our enemies and the enemies of the Most High Yah has placed in the midst of Yahshar'Al. We have to respect our sons. And if you have a son, treat your son like a man, not like a daughter. Explain to your daughters, if you have a son and a daughter, that I'm raising you to be virtuous, but I'm raising my son to be Yah's glory. Because that's what they are. And you will be the glory of your man, my daughter. Because when Yah does everything in order, there's nothing wrong with the woman being the glory of the man and the man being the glory of Yah. There's no problem in that. That's how Yah made it. And if you're the glory of the man and the man's the glory of Yah, and you and the man are one, then you become the glory of Yah. Like, there's no competition. But when you understand that Yah called the man to be his image, to be his executor of right ruling on this earth, then you will, it's different. You won't be able to be in a fight with a man or your son and be like, shut up. You won't be calling him bands. You won't be calling him F-boys. You won't even be over here when you're mad, be like, shut up, nigga. Like, you won't even get to that point. Because you understand that if you are transgressing against the glory of Yah, you're fighting against Yah himself. We are. So we got to get rid of that Jezebel Ahab unity where we want to overthrow a man, overstep him, overtalk him, over everything. Tell him what to do, tell him how to do it. Tell him where to go, tell him where to sit, tell him how to breathe. When he's supposed to lead us according to Yah's will, whether it's a husband or whether it's somebody that Yah has placed in authority, it don't matter. But it has to be evident that in Yahshar'Al, we understand that Yah made a covenant with Abraham, and then he made it with Isaac, and then he made it with Jacob, and then he made it with the 12 sons. And our sons after that, the sons that came after that, and the sons today, that we are supposed to raise them up to be the glory of Yah, to fear Yah, and to be princes, to be the ones who stand and say, We are the sons of the Most High Yah. Because Yah said that Yahshar'Al, they are his seed on the earth. They belong to him. So physical homosexuality, spiritual homosexuality, Jezebel, Ahab unity, intellectual superiority complex, black men hoe syndrome, emotional imbalances, drug addiction, none of that can be in our midst. And because these nations thought that they could do that and plant that in our midst to touch Yah's glory, they're gonna get a whooping. Yoel chapter 3. For look, in those days and at that time, when I turn back the captivity of Yahudah and Jerusalem, then I shall gather all Gentiles and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I shall enter into judgment with them. Therefore, my people, my inheritance, Yahshar'Al, whom they have scattered among the Gentiles and have divided up my land, and they have cast lots for my people and have given a young man for a whore, and sold a girl for wine and drank it. You know what they used to do in Rome? People like Socrates and Plato and Aristotle, they would have young boys, 13 years old, 10 years old, walking around them as their escorts. And they would sleep with those boys. They would groom them. They would teach them in philosophy, and they would rape them. Don't you know that the descendants of these people in this land is the same as the Romans and the Greeks? So what they've done here, taking young men, the young boys of Yahshar'Al, and turning them into whores. And don't think that at that time what a whore was someone who just wanted to sleep with people. It was someone who was by your side, even by force, ready for you to take your urges out on them. They have done wickedly, and they will pay because they have touched Yah's glory. Our men aren't punks. Our men aren't wusses. Our men aren't hoes. Even though that's what they want to make them. Our men aren't drug addicts, alcoholics, F-boys, emotionally unstable people. They are the glory of Yah. When you see a man of Yahshar'Al, what you should see is the apple of Yah's eye. What you should see is his ambassadors. What you should see, even though you see them dressed in rags right now, is to see them dressed in purple linen, white linen. And also, what are you to me, O Sor and Sidon, and all the coast of Pelasheth? Are you repaying me? And if you are repaying me, I would swiftly and speedily return your reward on your own head. For you have taken my silver and my gold, and brought my treasures into your temples. And the people of Yahudah and the people of Yahshar'Al, you have sold to the sons of Yawan to remove them far from their borders. See, I am stirring them up out of the place to which you have sold them, and I shall return on your own head what you have done, and shall sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the people of Yahudah, and they shall sell them to the Shevites, to a nation far off. For Yahuwah has spoken. Proclaim this among the Gentiles. Prepare for battle. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of battle draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Hasten and come, all you Gentiles, and gather together all around. Oh, Yahweh, let your mighty men come down here. Let the Gentiles be aroused and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there I shall sit to judge all the Gentiles on every side. Put in the sickle, for the harvest has grown ripe. Come, go down, for the winepress is filled. The vats overflow, for their evil is great. ABBA will repay. ABBA will repay. There ain't no broke back mountains in Yahshar'Al. We don't have no weak boys in Yahshar'Al. We don't have no weak men in Yahshar'Al. They have done a number on us. That has ended. It took them 100 years. 100 years from 1865 to 1960 to turn us out. Our men didn't become weak and homosexuals after the first generation. They became angry. And then the second generation came and they were still angry. And the third generation came and they fell into drugs. And then the next generation came and they got Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King, and you thought that they was one of us, and what they did was they sold us a dream and they lied to us, and they had Coretta Scott King say, you know what? The struggle of my people are the same as the homosexuals. They didn't choose to be gay, just like we didn't choose to be Negroes. Come together, Negroes. Come together, homosexual, and become one. Now, every time we have a problem, it's the same community coming to fight with us. And nothing's done. And our people are still over here being effeminate, being tolerant, and being lawless. The Most High Yah will repay. That's why y'all better stop supporting systems and movements. Take a knee. Take a knee. Say his name. If you don't, be quiet. Black Lives Matter. Put your screen black. Yeah. Take that profile picture off and turn the screen black. No, turn it red. Because the Most High Yah is about to send HaMashiach to walk on that wine press. It's almost dinner time for the fowls of the air. Because they have touched the apple of Yah's eye. And they broke back mountains into Yahshar'Al. But we're taking them out. Because we understand who our men are. Who the covenant was made with. And our role standing with and for our men to make sure the spirit of Jezebel is far from us. To make sure that we're not always nagging in a man's ear all the time. Make sure that we're not trying to overcome them. Making sure that we don't exercise authority over them. With masculinity. Making sure that we don't curse them, speak against them. Look at how Miriam even spoke to HaMashiach with respect. And that was his mom. Don't talk at your sons. Speak with them, converse with them. Don't talk at them. Teach them to respect themselves and how to receive respect from others. And train yourselves, women, to make sure that you are ready to witness what the Most High Yah is going to do in the midst of our men. Pray for them, fast for them, prophesy over them. And when I say prophesy, I don't mean just coming out of thin air saying, yeah, I prophesy you're going to be. Like, you don't need to do all of that. Prophesying sometimes literally just means speaking life over somebody. Speaking the promises of Yah over. You don't need to be like, I had a vision. I seen that. You don't need to do all that unless Yah gave it to you. But you can speak to your son. Direct him in the way that he should go. Because something is going to happen soon. The waters are being stirred. Babylon's about to fall. And Judah, literally, the men are going to rise up. So that's just what I wanted to share. Our men have gone through a lot. Don't think it was simple what they've gone through. We've all gone through a lot, but our men really have gone through a lot more. They really have. It's not who went through more or worse, but understanding that they went through a lot because the goal was always to touch Yah, was to hit Yah, was to attack Yah, was to disrespect Yah. So they wanted to come after his image. We are the image of the man. The man is the image of Yah. And that's just how it is. If we want to agree or disagree, that's just how it is. And if you don't know, well, now you know. So let's go into Palal now. We'll just pray for our men, our boys. And the more you understand what they've gone through, the more compassion you'll have. I have siblings who work in the prison. And the things they tell me, I have 3 that work in the prison. And one of them was talking to me the other day, and she said, oh, yes. And she said that there was this young boy who got in jail for something petty. It just makes me so upset. And it makes me want to cry. It's a young boy, like 23, 24 years old. And they put this young boy in the prison with somebody who has life in there. And that man is like 60-something years old, and he tried to rape that young boy. Young man, 24 years old. And he was about to be raped, and the only reason why he didn't get raped was because they was inside of a cell block that had gang members, and those gang members, they don't mess with that. And they called the office and said, you better come get this guy, or else we're gonna kill him. So my sister went down there, and a few of the other people from her department, and they got that boy. And my sister is so angry, and she said, if it wasn't because of the Most High Yah, I would have messed that man up. Pepper sprayed him, took my baton, and beat him up. Do you know the kind of trauma would have taken place if that young boy, if that young man got raped in jail by one of his own. Because there was both Negroes, but one of his own, you take away his masculinity. How many of them commit suicide from being raped? How many of them in the prison and in Atlanta? The people who fill up that prison more than every other race or any other race is our people. And they got a whole cell block with a whole bunch of men that have their prison clothes on, like some tube tops, walking around, making lipstick out of blood and whatever they got going on. They did a number on Yahshar'Al. It's hard for them. It's really hard. So pray for the men. Because when they stand up, all of Yahshar'Al will stand up. We haven't stood up all the way yet. We're still crawling. Those of us who think that we stood up, we didn't stand up. We're crawling. We're learning how to walk. We just woke up yesterday. We're learning how to walk. We're crawling. But when Yah wakes up the men and they start to take their place, that's when we'll be standing. Because when they stand, we're running. Now, so the fast I'm doing is not a full-blown fast. It's different. It's not about, we're not going to be eating really. So, let me just backtrack. This fast is to make sure that we are in fellowship with Yah. So what I'll be doing for the next 40 days is making sure to get up every single day before the sun rises to speak with Yah. Every single day. And keeping all junk foods, all carbs, like pizza, bread, rice, all of these things out of our system. Eating fruits, beans, lentils, fruits, beans, lentils, grains, like good grains that don't have carbs. And spending time in the day just talking to Yah. So I got an alarm on my phone, and it's 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. At those times, every time I hear my alarm, I just pray. It's not a long prayer or anything. However the Father leads, even if it's just stopping and saying, Abba, Yah, fill me with your Ruach. Lead me, guide me, speak with me. Reveal yourself to me. Anything that the Ruach leads you to say, or even just saying Tuda Rabbah. There is this exercise that we do in my house where when we say Yada Yahuwah, we lift up our hands and we say Yada Yahuwah. And when we say Barak Yahuwah, what we do is we literally, wherever we are, we bow down on our knees and we just say Yada Yahuwah. So we stand up, lift up our hands, Yada Yahuwah. Bow down, Barak Yahuwah. Because Barak also means to bow. So we literally go on our knees and we bow wherever we are, training ourselves to have reverence, right? So what I'll be doing is I'll also be making short snippets throughout the day, not throughout the day, every day for the next 40 days to give whatever the Ruach gives me, I will share it. And it's just a short message to feed the Ruach. And that's what it is. And then what we're doing also is working out. making sure that we're training our bodies the same way we're training our minds. So if we're gonna, like, I'm devoting myself to like 50 days of squats and 50 squats a day, 50 squats a day, and like crunches, right? Training the mind and the body. Also learning to shut my mouth, right? So I already am pretty good at that, thank Yah, but it's also just not learning to not react, right, with feelings. Like somebody get on your nerves, just don't let it react. Don't react. Just having control, self-control, not talking about everything, not gossiping. If some of us have trouble with gossiping, if there's somebody you want to talk to about something, talk to them, but don't mention any names, because it's okay to get counsel, just don't mention any names. Training ourselves to be discreet, and just also drinking healthy juices. So no sugar, no sweets, no junk food, just healthy eating, healthy practices for the next 40 days, and then hoping it's going to be something that turns into something that's forever. And then there's a journal, Sister Amana, she has. I would suggest, if you guys have it, everybody could just order it online. I'll share it with you guys, and you just order it, and then we can document our feelings, our emotions, because we want to conquer our emotions. We want to make sure that we're not an emotional people. We need reasoning, and the goal too is to make sure that we that we are level-headed, and that we can also speak with y'all, because a lot of us, we're not able to hear from y'all very clearly, because our gates are blocked, right? So we're not able to have our dreams and remember them, because sugar, radiation, a whole bunch of stuff. So I would also suggest maybe trying to not go on social media as much, not do certain things that you always do, like addictive habits, try not to do them. And I'm gonna put the link in there. Oh yeah, the children's journal. Yeah, so okay, so let me put my email in there. Okay, and then I'll send the link, and I'll ask Sister Mana to do. I think she was already gonna do a video, so that'll be really good. Too, and then we can hold each other accountable. Maybe we can check in on Sister Chat and just see how we're holding up. If ABBA has showed any of us something, if anything has changed in our lives, if we're struggling with something, and if you fall, it's okay. It's okay if you fall. It's okay. Don't give up just because of that. You can still keep going, because what we're trying to do is to overcome the flesh, and it's not without eating. We're eating still. We're just eating fruits. Like for me, I'm going to be doing fruits and beans. Fruits and beans. That's it for the next 40 days. And, whatever Yah does in that process, then we've got to hope and believe that it's permanent transformation. And I believe ABBA will be giving a lot of messages to different people throughout this time. I think Sister Mana is going to be posting a video every single day too, for however Yah leads her. So yeah, I'm really excited. For it. Oh yeah, and I'll send the link in the chat for the journal. So yeah, you can definitely stay in touch with me through email. But yeah, family, that's it. So let's go into Palal now. If you have names, hot green tea. Yeah, because beans does give a lot of gas. Yay! Yeah, join us. Anybody who wants to join, we're gonna do this, hold each other accountable, and just make sure that we're ready, because if y'all came right now, a lot of us really would not make it like the way we think. because there's a lot of things in us that need to be purged out. There's just so much. So we really need to make sure that we are examining ourselves daily and making sure that we're ready. Okay. So let's go and pull out for our men. And if you have your sons too, call them out by name, nephews, grandchildren, brothers. Call them out by name. I say yes, yeah, yes, to your will and to your way. I say yes, yeah, yes. I will trust you and obey. When your ruach speaks to me, with my whole heart I'll agree. And my answer will be yes, yeah, yes. I say yes, yeah, yes, to your will and to your way. I say yes, yeah, yes. I will trust you and obey. When your ruach speaks to me, with my whole heart I'll agree. And my answer will be yes, yeah, yes. When your ruach speaks to me, with my whole heart I'll agree. And your answer will be yes, I'll say yes. So anointing, fall on me. Anointing, fall on me. Let the power of your ruach fall on me. Anointing, fall on me. Anointing, fall on me. Anointing, fall on me. Let the power of your ruach fall on me. Anointing, fall on me. Abba Yahuwah, who reigns in the Shamayim and the Eretz, Father, we come before your presence and we give you thanks, Father, for everything that you have done for us. Thank you for your goodness. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you for your love, your compassion. Abba, thank you that you have not forgotten about us. Thank you, Abba Yah, that you've allowed us to wake up in this time while everybody else are still sleeping, Father. While some of us are still stiff-necked and stubborn, while some of us do not want to walk according to your will or your way, Abba Yah. You've called us out of darkness and into your marvelous light. And we say yes, Abba Yah. We say yes to your will. We say yes to your way. We say yes to you, Father. That we will walk according to your laws and your commands and your statutes and your right rulings. That we will let go of our old self. That we will not hold on to lawlessness and rebellion. That we will not have a spirit of Jezebel over us, controlling us, directing us, instructing us how to behave and how to treat one another. That we will be imitators of HaMashiach. That we will not walk contrary to you, Abba Yah. That every single word you have spoken is yes, and so be it, Abba. You have called us to be a people that are set apart to you. You have called us to be a people that walk in alignment to your will, Father. You have called us to abide in your laws. You have called us to be a people who love righteousness, who are perfectly rounded, Father. You have called us to be just. You have called us to be righteous. You have called us to be perfect in your will. You have called us to be well-pleasing to you. You have called us, ABBA, to go straight, to not deviate to the left or to the right. You have called us to be a royal house, Father. So we ask, ABBA, that for us women who are still walking in arrogance, or walking proudly or loud-mouthed, Abba, that you will fill us with a meek and peaceable spirit. And Father, that we will stand in the gap for our men, that we will be a people who understand the plight of our men, Father, that not only did they attack us women, but they literally tried to destroy you, Father. And because they couldn't, they touched the apple of your eye. The man who was made in your image. The man who was supposed to behold your glory, Abba Yah. Oh, Father, help us to be strong for them. Help us to cheer them, not discourage them. Help us to lift them up, not push them down. Help us to speak into them, Abba, not speak curses over them. Help us, Abba Yah, to let them know that they are loved, that they are not weaklings, Father. Help us to see them the way you always saw us. Help us to see them the way you always saw them, the way you always intended them to be, Father. Strong, men of valor, men of righteousness, men who love your way, Abba. Not effeminate, not emasculated, not homosexuals, not drug addicts, not people who lack self-control, not people who have emotional imbalances, not people who are self-conscious or feel like they could never be anything, Abba. Let us see them as the princes that you have called them to be. Heirs, Father, to the kingdom that you had put in place for us, because of the covenant that you made with our father Abraham. Abba, I ask that you will heal every single feeling of incompetence, that they can't be nothing, that death is their goal, that death is what is the only thing they are deserving of. Poverty, chaos, destruction. Abba, lift up your men. Lift them up. And the boys that are growing up, Abba Yah, that they will not be inheritors of the curses that have been placed on us, on the curses that have been placed on them. Abba Yah. Abba Yah, have mercy. Have mercy, Father, on your sons. See what the nations have done. How they turned them over and violated them. How they called them thugs. How these nations have turned them into terrors. How even mothers are afraid of their own sons. How homes are without fathers because the fathers still, Father, are enslaved and are victims to what was done to them and their forefathers. Abba Yah, have mercy. Abba Yah, have mercy. Have mercy on your sons, Abba Yah. Lift them up out of the miry clay. Put them on a solid rock to stand, Father. Those who are yearning for a father, those who are yearning for a father to speak into them, to lead them, to direct them, but all they have is bad examples, Abba Yah. Help them to see, Abba, that your promises for them are great, Father, and that you are their Father. And your word says, though my mother and my father have forsaken me, the Most High Yah has received me, Abba. Let them know that they are received by you. Let them know that they are loved by you. Let them know that even though they've had men and women over them, that you have called them to be the heads and not the tail. That even though they've been beaten up so many times, beaten up, given drugs, given medication for schizophrenia, given medication for depression and anxiety, and other things that will keep them in further bondage, Father, that you have healing in your hands. Abba, Yah, restore your men. Restore your men. You have said that in these last days, you will gather us, and that you will pay back our enemies for what they had done. This is all for the controversy of Zion, that they have taken your men, Abba Yah, and turned them out into women, into whores. They have taken the boys, Abba Yah, and made them fatherless, even though their fathers are alive. But they choose to walk contrary to you, Father. Where women are enslaved to their emotions because the men don't know how to stop being slaves to themselves. And the indoctrination that they had been given for generations. Abba, lift up the boys of Zion. Lift up your sons of Zion. Lift up your sons of Zion, Abba Yah. And those of us who still have young children or young boys and teenagers in our homes, Father, cover them. Cover them, hide them under the shadow of your wings, Father. That they can grow in your presence. They can grow in the light of your word, Father. They can hold on to you. They can cleave to you. And they will know that they come from the regal house, from the royal house, from the regal house of Yahudah. Abba, thank you that you have not forsaken us, that you have not forgotten about us, that you have called us by your name, and that we are yours. Your word says, arise and shine, Yahshar'Al, for your light has come. No more curses over Yahshar'Al. No more spitting on Yahshar'Al. No more giving us terrible bywords and stereotypes. No more calling our boys F-boys. No more calling them hoes. No more calling them BA niggas. No more of that, Abba Yah. They are Yahshar. They are princes. He is prince. They are righteous. They are just. They are perfectly rounded. They are well-pleasing to your sight. Oh, Father, be exalted and be magnified. Hallelujah. 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 We're trusting in your promises, Abba Yah. We're trusting in them. We're trusting in them. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in every word you have spoken. All your words you have spoken are yes, and so be it. And when you raise up the men, Abba Yah, keep the spirit of Jezebel far from us, Father. Keep the spirit of Jezebel far from us, where we may want to govern them and dominate them and rule over them, Abba. But we will not rule over them. They will walk in boldness and we will support them. Hallelujah. Thank you, Abba Yah, for all your promises towards us. Thank you, Abba Yah, for who you are and what you've done. Hallelujah. In the name of Yahshar'Al. Hallelujah. So be it, and be it so. 'Cause faithful you are. Faithful forever you will be. Faithful you are. And all your promises are yes, and so be it. Oh, faithful you are. Faithful forever you will be. Faithful you are. And all your promises are yes, and so be it. And all your promises are yes, and so be it. And all your promises are yes, and so be it. Hallelujah. Sound the shofar for our boys. Have a good night, everyone.
Go down roses to Egypt land. Get your staff and start walking it out, walking it out. Get your staff and start walking it out, start walking it out. We were once summer slaves. Didn't have a history, didn't have a name. We were sold like cattle to these nations made. Now I know who I am and I'm walking it out. Our history was taken from us. We lost our heritage. Then some imposters came and took our name and labeled us as niggas and slaves. Go down Moses to Egypt land. Better tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Get your staff and start walking it out, walking it out. Get your staff and start walking it out, start walking it out. Children of Zion, do you hear that my locks cry? Get your feet up, it's time to go. I know you've been waiting for a while. Sweet cherry wine, coming for to carry me home. Sweet cherry wine, coming for to carry me home. Go down Moses to Egypt land. Better tell Pharaoh to let my people